quickly, I'm not. There's not one damn thing that anybody prepared for me that I'm ready to talk about because so many other things have come up that I want to talk about, and I don't have time to get a lot of answers. But I do want to mention to Dr. Erickson and Dr. Schmidt. I want to put a finer point on the discussion you had with a couple of my colleagues, and especially Senator King, regarding more appropriate countermeasures to these drones that are coming at our military men and women. The finer point is last night I went over to Walter Reed and I met with the family of a North Dakota soldier. It was Chief Warrant Officer Garrett Illerbrun is his name. His parents were there. His wife Lorna, who's also an Army aviator. He was injured on Christmas Day in Herbal. I think it was attack number 115 or something like that finally got a few of our guys. And he's recovering over in Walter Reed. And the one thing Lorna told me that I could say, she said, please check into why there's not a better countermeasure. Now, this is a hero herself, married to a hero with a 7-year-old little boy. And they're thinking, where is our government when 115 times the small drones come after us and one gets through and now they're dealing with this. So I'm just illustrating that point for Chief Warrant Officer Illerbrun and his family and all of the people that he represents. We've got to do better than firing missiles at him. Secretary Dalton, I had several things on ISR and other things I wanted to visit with you about. We might have to get back together, frankly, and I appreciated your visiting with me before. But your response regarding the spy balloon to Senator Rounds causes me to just want to drill down a little bit more. You said you clearly were in the value chain of advisors. When did you first learn about the spy balloon, and what was your initial advice to Secretary Austin?
Senator, Secretary Austin first learned of the PRC spy balloon on January 27th, and I learned about it the same day. And
what was your initial
my
counsel?
initial advice was that we absolutely needed to understand what capabilities were on the PRC high-altitude balloon. NORAD Northcom was tracking it and characterizing it, but we needed to get to the bottom of what it was doing, what its intentions were.
So here's the bigger question, given your role. Why was there never an internal review? Why didn't you initiate an internal review of all the policies, the processes, the siloing of the various, the intelligence agencies and NORAD and DOD and all of that? In the absence of that, we did it. This committee put in the NDAA a review. Did it ever occur to you, gee, this is something maybe we should dig into a little bit and see where our failings are?
Senator, in fact, we have incorporated that in the development of our Homeland Defense Policy Guidance over the last year. It was signed by Secretary Austin in December. It has benefited from the lessons learned from the PRC HAB experience, and there are ample lessons to be gleaned from that in terms of what we need to do for our air and cruise missile defense of the homeland, in terms of NORAD modernization, and a number of other elements that I could discuss in a classified environment.
Yeah. But my point isn't that you didn't benefit tremendously from the review that was initiated by this committee and put into law. Why wasn't that instinctive to do that? And in answering that, as I go into my final minute, I would add to that, now that you've had the review, now that you've seen the review, now that you've thought about this and been challenged, what would you do differently if you knew on that date, December 27th, what you know now? What mistakes were made that you made, perhaps, in your counsel to the secretary that you would improve on?
Senator,
it's okay to have been wrong. Then the correction is what we're looking for.
Thank you, and we are all human.
Right.
But I think the benefit of having the investments to come in NORAD modernization would allow us to better characterize these types of threats sooner. And then to be able to develop options for policymakers and certainly for the Secretary and the President. The other big lesson learned for me is that as soon as we have threats that are actionable, policy decisions before they are made public, or any other DoD activities that we owe oversight answers to Congress, that we need to provide that in a timely fashion. Again, I understand that we have fallen short based on what I have heard from members today, and we will incorporate that into our responses going forward.
Well, that's a common theme throughout all of the services, throughout the entirety of my existence here, for sure, is not getting back to us in a timely manner. But my point was more about the crisis itself. What would you do anything differently now?
Senator, I think that we as a community could have had better national level integration at the local level. What I saw in the early days of the PRC HAB was that we were very well wired for responding to hurricanes, to wildfires, and that is the day-to-day existence for defense supportive civil authorities. But it hadn't been since World War II that we had an incursion over U.S. territory from a foreign adversary. And so, getting that national to federal, state, and local integration happened, but I think in real time, we could have been more expeditious about it, and we will do so going forward.
Thank you for that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.